she a nympho. I wanna fuck, baby, let me get your info. Let me know what you wanna get yourself into. Yeah, I know that you got some daddy issues.
How is it going, nerds? My name is Linkwood, and today is the start of a new series with our squeaky chair, which is back because I don't have the money to get a new one, so I was just gonna be here for a while. This is a game called Her Lie I Tried to Believe. It's a visual novel I found on Steam, and it seemed pretty interesting, so I thought, why not let's play, why not let's play it and see what we can get out of it. So let's get right into it and see what happens. I wonder why I didn't notice at the time the meaning behind all of this. Now that I understand it, I can declare with certainty that my life would have been completely different if I hadn't seen it sooner. Was I too insensitive? Or maybe I simply wished I didn't really understand. No matter. Maybe you will see the truth where I couldn't. It all started in elementary school. Not middle school nor high school, but elementary school. Just to tell how long she's been tormenting me. Yes, a girl. It's always about a girl, isn't it? Could have been any rivalry between boys? No, it needed to be a girl. Fuck. There's no predetermined time to mark when exactly this happened. It just kind of turned out this way, I guess. The moment I laid my eyes on her, I knew I would. Hate her. She was tall, well, not tall, but still taller than me back then. You know how it goes. Her hair was not very long. Boyish would probably be a good way to define it, but again, this wasn't such a surprise during that time. Her strength must have been similar to mine, even. Her features resembled most of the girls. She wasn't special, that's for sure. She had brown eyes, black hair, a cute little girl, and it stopped at that. Just that. Yet there was one thing. Only one simple thing that separated her from the rest of those peer girls. Her eyes. There was something, and I'm not going to talk about twinkles or anything of the sort. I'm talking about something darker, something that doesn't belong to a kid, but she hid it, or at least tried to, and it worked with most people, but not with me. I wonder if she saw the same thing in my eyes. Maybe that's why I felt much contempt for her. Maybe that's why she answered that with contempt with some unknown feelings of her own. I don't know how it happened. Did she provoke me first, or was I the one to push this conception as the sole intent of our relationship? The fact that we were rivals. I think it started all because she was beating me at running. She's beating me at pretty much everything, really. But I think running was something more perceivable. That's why I felt it weighing so much more on my mind. To be beaten by a girl. It wasn't that she had a talent for running or whatever. It was simply that I was mediocre. And it would have probably been alright with me if it weren't for that smile. That smile, always teasing me, so brightly so, and it wasn't that compelling either. I mean, more often than not, she would be missing some teeth due to growth, so... But again, I don't fully remember why she started doing this, but every time she finished before me in a race during PE, she would always look at me with the same smile and say, "Better luck next time, Tim." For me, it was the greatest insult for a boy who tries to distinguish himself from the others. In an environment such as elementary school, to be beaten and laughed at by a girl, there's no way I would take it personally. I wouldn't take it personally. So I made it kind of my life mission to beat her at every opportunity I'd get. But sadly for me, I was just an average guy. And while she was too an average girl, she was still slightly better than I was. I think for her, it was simply a game. Something to put a smile on her face. Something to feel proud about. Seeing me fail and looking so irritated by the fact she might have thought I was also amusing myself somehow. It was only when winter came that she understood the depth of my feelings. Like how nothing grew at all. We were playing at King of the Hill on the snow mountain with a couple of kids. I said we, but we weren't friends, or even really acquainted with one another. We knew each other's names, and that was that. Maybe it made even more of an impact because of this, because no one was really playing aggressively. We were just kind of pushing each other out from the top of the mountain to claim it as our own. When I saw her, that girl, climb to the top of the mountain and try to take even the fleeting achievement from me, I just kind of snapped. I remember thinking, this is mine. You won't take it away from me. And she didn't. She didn't, because I grabbed her with all my strength and threw her to the bottom of the mountain, directly on the hard ground. It must have hurt. It must have hurt really bad. But my thoughts weren't there. I was completely euphoric from the idea that I protected what was mine, that I was finally beating her or something. I guess our strengths were really no match after all. Kids were all regrouping themselves around her for some reason. I finally understood that I did something that I shouldn't have done. The glares on me told me so. Yet I didn't feel bad. I mean, this girl had been tormenting me way more than this, but they didn't know. How could they know? Finally, the girl, Cassandra, got up painfully from the ground. She didn't cry. She didn't try to stir up compassion for those around her. No, she simply looked at me. Looked at me with those eyes. That's when I knew she finally understood how I feel. That's when I knew she finally started hating me. She became serious. That rivalry I thought we had nothing was before than normality to her. So, by seriously trying to beat me at everything, she became one of the best students in our class. I could say some stupid shit like I wanted her to become this way because I knew she was faking to be someone else, but that's clearly not the case. The only reasons I ever had in wanting to crush her were simply juvenile and immature ones at best. I don't think she was fake before by any stretch of the imagination. I just think she had that much potential. Sure, I also became better because of that fact, but she always had the last word at the end. And her smile changed too. There was no longer this faint warmth emanating from it. It was cold. Like this thing I thought I had once seen in her eyes. She finally looked at me the way I always looked at her. I guess I opened her eyes. And she saw me for whom I truly was. I didn't feel bad about it. At least, I thought I didn't. If I had any emotion back then, it would probably be numbed by the excruciating feeling of being humiliated. Also, she stopped saying her usual line when beating me. She continued saying something alright, but it was no longer that line. Instead, she'd just say something like, "Are you even trying?" And she would say it as often as she could. It was no longer simply when we were running against each other, but also during our academic reports, and even during luck-influenced games. My elementary school life ended with an extremely bitter aftertaste. I became the laughingstock of the class, and I somehow helped Cassandra become even more better than she already was. A complete defeat indeed, but there would be other chances for me to prove my worth. I knew there would. A chance to crush her, that is. Middle school brought some changes with it. Well, not right away, but in the second part of first year, for sure. I became taller, or maybe she became smaller? I don't know, since she was the sole thing I ever set my eyes on. She became my reference when it came to any kind of physical changes. I could hardly believe it, yet it was something anyone could have predicted, me becoming taller than her. For some unknown reason, we still ended up in the same class. We had somehow chosen the same options. Disgustingly enough, our hatred towards each other was still very real, so it was like we only picked things up from where we left them during elementary school. I like that pink hoodie. Her hair was now longer. She started, little by little, to take up shapes which made her body no longer be regarded as a kid anymore. Even I could see how beautiful she was becoming, yet I was still repulsed by her. Likewise, I changed in a dramatic fashion. I became taller, and I gained some mass along the way. Again, I was very much an average guy, but I still tried my best to keep my body in shape in order to eventually win against her. And that paid off. Or maybe it was just the direct result of those apparent changes. But in any case, I finally started to have the upper hand on her. At least during PE and other physical competitions. I was no longer chasing her. She was now chasing me. "Can you at least show a little bit of determination?" That was my line. What a joke, really. Couldn't even think of anything clever to say, so I just stole her line and made it my own. And I wouldn't stop at that. I wanted my back to be as far in front of her as it possibly could. So I decided to start playing basketball to build up stamina, keep my body in shape. In no time, I became somewhat popular, and I don't think I was any good, really. My whole team was just that bad, that's all. In a way, popularity didn't interest me. My eyes were still locked on her all this time. Sure, I played the card of the cool kid, faking to enjoy everyone's eyes on me, but it was just another way to get back at her. Cassandra. Just her name makes me shudder. She was popular in elementary school, but now she was kind of distant and solitary. Then look at me and acknowledge my existence. It was how I thought, but every time I looked her way, she never looked at mine. I came to realize that she had lost all interest in our rivalry. It was only natural. I mean, she no longer had any chance when it comes to physical performances. So I decided it was time to change gears. If I wanted to take everything away from her, I would need to build up not only my body, but my mind too. And we'll see if he does it in the next episode, so have a great day, know you're beautiful, and I hope you enjoyed. And I'll speak with you all again soon. Woo! If you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, still give it a like. Baka Bowl every Tuesday. Go check out everything else down in the description below. And go buy my shirts. That's about it. Roll the outro.
There'll be girls across the nation that'll eat this up. Babe, I know that it's you so, but could you bottle it up? Get down to the heart of it, no, it's my heart. Your shit out of your love. Don't make me tell you again. Woo! Love, love, love. Hey. Love, 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 love. I do it for love. Love, love, love.
Do it for. Yeah. I do it for the love, yes I do. So you don't care about the money, well yes it's true. And I'm so blessed to be fulfilling my destiny. All material things could mean less to me. Only thing I ever could need is a Sarah B sample with a dope ass beat. And get the mic check, all the levels right. And if it's good then I'll be here for several nights. Cause the only thing I need is a strong supporting team.